there anybody that, from your experience, that can't be vegan?
I haven't found that.
They just feel like this isn't for me because their body's having a challenge to overcome, like, because there's a learning curve.
Yes.
And everybody's coming at this from their own damaged past.
Hi, my name's Dr. Kim Scheuer, and I have been vegetarian since I was about 19, so many years ago, 41 years ago, or 42 years ago. And then I went vegan in about 2010, so about 14, 15 years ago. I started going vegetarian because I was in college and had some roommates who decided they wanted to be vegetarian. I was like, okay, great. And they started throwing away all the shampoos and all that stuff. And I was like, well, no, I'll take those. But then that first night, I was like, oh, let's order pizza. Let's order some pepperoni pizza, and realized can't do that. But they lasted 2 weeks. I lasted many years. I became vegan in 2010, 2011-ish because I was 47 at the time and realized that my mom had breast cancer when she was 48, and I wanted to prevent getting breast cancer myself. So I read the China study, watched Forks Over Knives. A friend of mine was going to nutrition school and wanted to do a 3-day survey on me. And when she did that, I thought, well, I eat better than 90% of Americans. She's going to come back saying, you eat great. She came back and she said, you eat horribly. I was a cheeseaholic, a chocoholic, a Milky Way vegetarian, and ate lots of junk food. And so she immediately made me a green smoothie. I was like, I don't like anything green. I never liked salads. I can't eat like this. And she said, made me the smoothie, made me have a sip, and I was like, oh, I can do this. She ended up cooking for me for a month, and I had a green smoothie every day. I lost a ton of weight. My cholesterol plummeted. My energy went up. I would, instead of getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning like, oh, I don't want to get up, I was like, well, let's go. It's awesome. And my cholesterol plummeted, and I was doing more and more research and thought, I got to try this with my patients because it's changed my life. Let's change my patients' lives. And I literally had struggled with my weight from age 13 when I stopped growing up and grew out to 47. It was such a pleasure not struggling. It was such a pleasure treating my patients and having their lives just turn around. I started going to conferences, became boarded in lifestyle medicine, and after getting over the anger of not being taught this in medical school or residency, just decided to start living the lifestyle I was teaching my patients to do and prescribing for my patients.
And we have a mutual friend by the name of Anthony Masiello.
Yes.
And you are affiliated with him through lifestyle telemedicine, correct? Awesome. Yeah, tell me a little bit about that.
So when I went plant-based and started getting into lifestyle medicine, I started my own lifestyle medicine program called Doc's Lifestyle Medicine. My partner, Derek Olson, had gotten hit by a car, and he was an ICU nurse. So Doc's is Derek Olson, Kim Scheuer. We started doing local lifestyle medicine, and then COVID hit. At the same time, Anthony came out to ski. I met him several times, and he was starting plant-based telehealth with Lori Marbus and some others. And I was like, if you ever need another doctor, I'm in. And a while later, they said, yeah, we're interested, and I joined, and it was perfect timing. I moved to a place where I left, where I was working in Aspen, Colorado, where I was known as Dr. Kale, and everybody knew me there. And I went to a new place. COVID had hit. I was in my house, so telemedicine was a perfect way to transition. Loved the work I did at plant-based telehealth.
Which is now lifestyle telemedicine.
Yes, it is. We're going back to our roots. So we were plant-based telehealth for a while, moved to Love Life Telehealth, and now we're back to our roots, and we're so excited. We have the same doctors, we have the same philosophy we had in the past, and just a name change, and we're so excited to be back to doing what we really want to do, which is helping others become healthier by being plant-based and through lifestyle medicine.
Can pretty much just anybody access you, or did it have to be somebody in Colorado, or?
So That's a good question. So we see people all over the United States and internationally. I have 25 licenses, so I can see people in their states, in 25 states, including DC. And then if I am not in a state, for example, if somebody wants to be seen in New Jersey, where Anthony lives, we have another doctor who has licenses there. So our goal is to eventually have docs in every state, but at least 2, so that so patients can have choices. We see all different kinds of patients, all ages, and we can order labs, we can order medicines if need to. We prefer to get people off of medicines when they're able to, or be on the least that they need. Yeah. And that's what our job is to move people to a healthier status, deprescribe medicines they may be on, prevent issues that they could have happened if they stayed on an unhealthy lifestyle pattern. And that means that in my practice, I have a brain trust of people who are brilliant, that if I don't know the answer to a question, I can talk to all the other docs in my group, and we support each other. We all live the lifestyle that we prescribe for our patients. So you're not just getting one doctor, you're actually getting a whole group.
A whole team.
Yeah, a whole team.
Yeah, and is that all still lifestyle telemedicine?
Yes, that's all at lifestyletelemedicine.com.
Yeah, nice. And if somebody just wants to do this, they just go there, they could pick a doctor that's covering their state and book an appointment. Is that pretty much that easy?
It is that easy. So you go to lifestyletelemedicine.com and put in the state that you live in. Okay. And then you can read, there's different docs in different states. So say New York, we have 2 docs in New York right now. You can read their bios, and I'm one of them, so you can read my bio, or you can read Dr. Carrie Graff's bio, she's also fabulous, and see who you might fit with, or who has easier availability when you are able to be seen. Then we get to see people in their own home, which is so wonderful, you know?
You mean virtually?
Virtually, yes. So I can say, I've had patients tell me, I can't do this, my kitchen's not set up. I'm like, bring me to your kitchen. And they bring me to their kitchen.
Holding their phone up, I guess.
Holding their phone up. You do need to be in the state. I need to be licensed in the state that you're in. But I've had people say, I don't have a New Jersey license. They'll drive into New York to see me.
So they're not using insurance, right?
No, we don't take insurance at this time. Hopefully one day, we'll see. What we do is, once you're seen, you get a super bill as long as you're not Medicaid, which we can't, or Medicare and Medicaid, we can't do that for them. But if you have a Blue Cross Blue Shield or some other insurance, you can get the super bill and get reimbursed, hopefully, from your insurance company. Some consider us out of network, some don't, so we've had variable things. Also, if you have an HSA or an FSA, you can use that to help pay for your visit.
And then if not, it's my understanding it's not very expensive either.
Well, overall it's not very expensive. Yeah. It's $350 for an hour visit and $175 for half an hour. You get the full time. So when you start to see us for the first visit, patients have a huge amount of paperwork to fill out. And we go through that very intensely and get people's charts ready. So we don't waste time. We don't waste your time. And it's not like you come into an office. You don't have to drive to an office. You don't have to get checked in and then have the nurse do vital signs and then see the doctor for 5 minutes. You see us for the full half an hour or the full hour. Before a new patient, I normally take between 45 minutes to an hour, usually an hour, of reviewing all the information sent to me, putting things together before I even see the person, before they start paying for anything. And then afterwards, I'll send them a huge summary of what we've talked about, plans, etc. And so it's a good value. And if you think about it, if I can get you off medicines, like I have a patient that was diabetic who was diabetic for 40 years. I got him off of 14 out of 15 of his medicines. Wow. And so he's now only on insulin, which he needs because he had diabetes young, but we've cut his insulin in half. Nice. So that saves a ton of money.
As a vegan and having a channel where I kind of promote this way of thinking and try to normalize this way of being, I'm often, throughout the entire time I've been doing this, from the beginning, from the get-go, I've been wondering, is there anybody who can't do this?
Who can't be vegan?
Yeah, exactly. And so, I've come across people who maybe have had challenges, whether it be dysbiosis, leaky gut, Crohn's disease, maybe they have fibroids and they're menstruating too much, or whatever it is, so their iron needs are a little bit different.
Correct.
And then they could find ways to work around that through proper meal preparation and planning, and avoiding tannins, and maybe adding a little citric acid rich foods to increase the absorption of the iron, and or maybe they avoid certain foods until they get past their dysbiosis or leaky gut, or add certain foods to help with that, or there's like so many things that somebody could do. But I imagine, somebody trying to do this without knowing that, they might just think, oh, this isn't for me, because they're listening to their body. Maybe they just feel like this isn't for me because their body's having a challenge to overcome, because there's a learning curve.
Yes.
And everybody's coming at this from their own damaged past, right? So everybody's unique, because we all just mess ourselves up uniquely, I guess, right? But is there anybody that, from your experience, that can't be vegan?
I haven't found that. Now, we take people from where they come in, which can be anything from already vegan, but need some tweaking to improve their diet, to being completely on a standard American diet, and going from here to fully plant-based or vegan. And some people, it takes time. Some people can go in right away. And some people always feel like, okay, I'm going to be vegan 90% of the time, but when I'm out at something, if there's a wedding or something like that where I'm given some food, I'm going to have a little bit of it. I'm not going to judge you. We want to just improve the life of the patient, the life of the animals, the life of the planet, and any movement towards being as fully vegan as possible. I'm 100% vegan, and I love that, and I will never go back. But I do have some people who feel like they can't be fully. Is that true? I don't know. If they went to a country that was purely vegan because they're a Buddhist country or this country or that, they'd probably eat the food of that country and survive. But we definitely do help tweak and make sure that people are getting a variety of foods. Now, there are some people who've had gastric bypass issues and things like that, where they need to really make sure that we adjust their diet. And there are people who feel some need some oil, some need some this, some need some that, but it's very, very individualized as to where they are, where they need to be, how old they are, what medical problems they have, and we just get them to the healthiest that they can be.
Yeah, because as a professional, you have to meet them where they're at, fine-tune their goals, and perhaps the ethical component would be inappropriate for you to venture into as a professional.
And I use the ethical component with people who come to me for ethical reasons. Absolutely. And for example, there's some people who have issues dealing with non-heme iron and are told they should be on heme iron. But if they are ethically vegan, there's no way. So there's adjustments we can do with everybody. Would I prefer everybody in this world was vegan? Absolutely. There's no question. But if we can get them as close, it's so much better than they were before.
Sometimes like a friend will say to me, hey man, I'm eating way more plants because of you. And I'm like,
that's
that's
great.
Cool. It's like, a lot of times I feel like, oh, nobody's really listening because they don't comment, like, or share or whatever, so I have no evidence of it. So it's just like these little wins or, steps in that direction, moving people vegan forward or plant forward, somebody might call it, is a win. I mean, I moved systematically in this direction prior to going vegan. I had a lot of seeds, and I imagine you probably had a lot of seeds. So you're just kind of there to be there and help nourish those seeds, I imagine. If somebody wanted to come to you and not be vegan, that's an option too, I imagine.
Absolutely.
Of course. And so that's probably good to get out there. But here's the question. Somebody might think, oh, well, if she's vegan, she's going to be biased or something like that. But if you're not vegan, you have that same dilemma, right? Like, so what do you think about that?
Well, that's a very good. People bring that up all the time, and it's like, I only will see people who are vegan. No, absolutely not. I'm going to see you no matter where you are. But do I want you to be healthier? Yes. Do I want you to eat vegan? Not necessarily, because eating vegan means you can have Oreos and sodas and things like that. No, I want you to eat whole food, plant-based. And that tends to be whole food and plants, you know. But I'm not going to tell you to give up your meat for vegan junk food, because that's not healthy either. So I'm coming from it professionally, from health. But if you come to me, but I also sneak in a little bit of ethics every once in a while. Do you have grandkids? What do you want to see for their future?
Yeah.
You know, I'll use different documentaries for different people. So if you're a young athletic male, I'll say, go watch The Game Changers. If you're older, come at it from a different point of view. Like, for example, farmers, I'll say, go watch Forks Over Knives. If you're coming at it from a planetary viewpoint, then I'll say, watch certain things, you know.
Like Cowspiracy or something.
And Cowspiracy. Get people where they're at and emphasize what their morals are.
Yeah. As far as this whole thing about vegan Oreo cookies, I mean, to me, that's not very vegan. Like, that's kind of antithetical to veganism. Whatever healthiest for the human animal is most consistent with veganism, because it's the least packaged, the least processed, the least resource intensive, and therefore the least invasive to the environment, and the least problematic for wildlife. And it makes us better role models, influencing more people, shows them how to do this sustainably, saving more animals. So the most vegan way is, to me, the healthiest way. Maybe it would be better to, and I'm just kind of just interjecting here, for me thinking about this, because I do these interviews so many times with people who typically think that, like, well, vegan's equivalent to junk food.
Well, I know a lot of people who don't understand the vegan philosophy, and they just think about what's vegan food. So they'll go and see the package that says vegan. Doesn't mean it's healthy for them or the environment.
What's good to distinguish is veganism isn't really a diet, it's an ethical principle that, you know,
do no harm. Or do the least harm you can.
Exactly. Very good. So, and when you have that vegan ethical underpinning, you know, that core, when you're anchored in the ethics, then you're going to do whatever it takes to endure the learning curve and social pressures, and then be the best example of that as possible. And you're not going to have a reason to acquiesce to social pressures and just eat meat on a dinner date or something. Oh, absolutely. So as a professional, you can't really be thinking about injecting the ethical aspect as much, or you got to be careful with that, because you got to put the person first, right?
Absolutely.
And maybe they're not ready for that, and maybe you have your own way of articulating that if you want to.
Well, I ask people why they're coming to see me. And most of the times it is for health. But why do you want to be healthy? What about health are you interested in? Do you want to be here so you can be with your grandkids and walk your granddaughter, your daughter down the aisle, whatever. So you have to start with where the person's coming from and adjust it for that, and then not judge if it's a little bit of a learning curve. Because, for example, before I learned about this, I had no idea. There's no way before I was 47 you would get me to think about eating green leafy vegetables 3 times a day. I love it now. I think bringing the enthusiasm of somebody who's not been vegan before. When I was vegetarian, I thought I was doing good. And then realizing I didn't realize what happened to the cows, or the chickens who made the eggs or the cheese that I was eating. I had no idea. So I learned along the way. I didn't start it for that reason, to protect the animals. I mean, certainly I care deeply about animals, but I was in the dark like a lot of Americans. They just don't see it. And sometimes it's willful ignorance and sometimes it's not. So I have to remember I was there. I didn't know. And when I found out, when I did my own research, when I started studying this, and when I started looking at this, I was angry that I hadn't been taught this in medical school. But it was also a change for me. I was like, I can't eat this. First of all, I'll be bored. I won't like the taste. I didn't know how to cook it. That was a learning curve for me. And now I would never go back. My food is delicious and I love to eat. Yeah. So I eat more than I used to. I'm healthier than I was when I was in my 20s, and I'm in my 60s now. I want to give that opportunity for other people, to teach them what I learned and how it changed my life, because it changes so many of my patients' lives. And sometimes you forget why you do this, but then you get a comment from somebody. Not only is my life better, but my husband's life better, my mother-in-law's life is better. I had a patient who came to me last minute, and I actually had extra time at the end of the day for diabetes. Within 2 weeks, she was off of insulin, and her mother was getting off of her insulin. And it's a ripple effect, which then also ripples out to the world to make the world a healthier, happier, kinder place.
Nice.
And that's my goal.
As far as lifestyle medicine is concerned, there's, we're talking about nutrition. Of course, there's sleep, exercise, not doing drugs, stress management, and social support.
Correct.
Yeah, so I guess you also maybe, you have a way of assessing all those things maybe during the intake.
Yeah, it isn't just the food. I mean, the food is the major component of this, but if you change over your diet, but still have significant stress, your risk factors are huge. If you don't move every day, your risk factors are big. But if I can get somebody who is unhealthy, in pain, overweight, to eat better, then they get more energy. Then their inflammation goes down, so their joints stop hurting. Then they start to move more, because what are you going to do with all this extra energy you have? So it's all interconnected. We often deal with patients who have a split kitchen or a split household, where they're trying to be as healthy as they can be. Their partner thinks that keto's healthy, or is pushing that. So we have split kitchens, we deal with people's stressors, we deal with food addiction, all kinds of things that we deal with. But we also are physicians first. And so if you come to me and you've got, for example, I had a patient who came to me who had diabetes, and she was doing everything right. She was eating plant-based, she was doing everything right. I'm talking to her, I said, I don't think you're type 2 diabetic. I think you're type 1.5. So we need to do some testing, and we need to adjust it. The testing I happened to have been correct, and when we did the testing, I found out that she was type 1.5, which is a latent autoimmune diabetes of adults, which I'm seeing more and more of. And so she was doing all the right stuff. Her body was attacking itself, and so she needed extra help. And I said, here's the good news. You're doing the right, and you have to continue doing that. But we're also going to have to put you on some different medicines, and you will do so much better. And she's done great. She's lost weight. She feels better. Her sugars are under control. She's not unhappy with herself anymore, thinking she was doing something wrong. So we're still doctors. And we deal with everything from cancer to diabetes to thyroid to autoimmune to everything.
Cardiovascular issues.
So many cardiovascular issues. And working on this lifestyle, using the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine, really helps people in so many different ways.
Yeah.
Even things that they don't even think are issues become so much better. It's amazing to see the transformations. And sometimes it just takes time for your partner or somebody else to get on board a little bit. And as long as they respect you, and they'll end up healthier just by trying your food.
By being in proximity.
Yeah, just by being in proximity. Like I was surprised.
Somebody said they were an adjacent vegan to me recently.
That's awesome, because it makes them healthier too.
Yeah.
And I love seeing families get healthier. I love seeing the kids, especially the kids, get healthier, because we need to teach our kids young. Because they're naturally empathetic growing up. We're affected by society, but if we can make our own society, like for example, where I moved to I moved into Salida, during COVID, and I met all my neighbors on the street as we were walking on the roads, because we couldn't meet inside, and I was just doing my getting out into nature. And 11 families in my neighborhood are now plant-based because of that.
Oh my goodness.
Which is awesome. So now if there's potlucks, I know I can eat.
I need to move there.
It was awesome. I mean, so many people have gotten off meds in my street, and it was just like, hey, they asked me what I did, and I said, this is what I do. And it's just, been wonderful to see that happen.
Wow, that's so cool. As I've learned about the pillars of lifestyle medicine and interviewed different doctors in this movement and all, I've been fascinated by how crucial all of them are and interconnected. And the social part to me is probably the most challenging in my life. So that's so cool that you're able to veganize your community because it's so challenging to feel alone. And then when you feel alone, you might get depressed and you might not sleep good,
Yep.
and you might do drugs and you might not be able to do stress management or whatever. And it's just so many, it snowballs and everything. And, you know, and even if you're just eating right, like I like to say, it's not a panacea. It's more than just eating, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not a panacea. Which I brought up in Dr. Baxter Montgomery's interview, and that's such a sad example of that because nobody really knows what happened, you know, outside of, you know, his nuclear family, I imagine. And then we've lost Dr. McDougall, and we've lost a lot of people, John Robbins recently, and so obviously we're not invincible, and some of these things are beyond our control, whether it's genetics, whether it's polio or whatever.
We are all going to die. It's 100% mortality rate in this life. However, what I'm trying to do for myself and my patients is make my health span the same as my lifespan. I know I'll never live forever, but I want my health to be great till the day I fall asleep and don't wake up. You know, I want my last day to be out hiking. I want my last check to bounce. No. And I don't, as Dr. Greger says, you know, how not to die. I don't want my last 10 years to be not being able to get up out of a chair, not being happy, being on multiple medications, being in and out of the hospital all the time, which is how so many people eating the standard American diet, and in our society where there's so much isolation and otherism right now. I want us to all come together for the good of everybody and have a wonderful health span, which people can do. I mean, you look at people who have, in the plant-based community, who've died recently, some of them have had issues that started way young, like Dr. McDougall.
Yeah, 18. Yeah.
And so at 18-year-old, he almost didn't live from the stroke he had. So who knows if he would have died if he much earlier.
Decades younger. Yeah.
Decades younger.
I heard one of these doctors that recently died might have had multiple myeloma, which, you know, people get that even younger and die younger. So, you know, it's important to express how much these individual cases are really just N of one anecdotes, and we really don't need to be hyper concerned about that and think, oh my gosh, am I doing the right thing? I'm doing what they're doing. Oh no.
There is no question that the studies have shown that the longest living people live healthier lifestyles. They don't eat animals at all or very much. You know, if you look at the Seventh-day Adventists, they live so much longer, but they not only live longer, they live healthier as they age. So if you look at the people in the blue zones, if you look at the Seventh-day Adventists, I do not want to have my end of life being like my grandmother's, who for the last 10 years of her life was unhappy, overweight, and in a wheelchair. That is not my goal. My goal is hiking mountains in my old age. I want to be skiing mountains. I want to be, right now, in my 60s, I can hike mountains better than my younger brothers. And I'm trying to get them as healthy as possible too. But we each live different lives and we have different goals in life. And, you know, I can say, this is the healthiest way to be. I'm doing this because I'm healthy and happy. And I'd love you to be healthy and happy. And all you can do is be a good role model, and give the education for a family.
Yeah. And as far as like your neighbors that you're successful
oh my gosh.
with, what did you learn from that experience? Like what works that others might be able to?
Being authentic. Being, so I
mean,
think,
like when you say authentic, like I can be just as blunt as I want?
For some people, yes. But it's being true to yourself. I mean, living what you are suggesting. So what I did with my neighbors, interestingly enough, most of them just were asking me what I did and how I did it, and they saw my vibrancy, and they saw my enthusiasm. And then they asked for books, they asked for recipes, they asked for things, and I gave it to them, and each one of them had different reasons. For example, I have neighbors who are of the Jewish faith. And I gave them a paper that a friend of mine wrote, who's a rabbi, that she wrote called Eating Jewishly, and how to not harm animals and be kind to your body, be kind to the earth. So each family was kind of a little bit different. Like, here, read How Not to Die. Yeah. You have these medical problems. Go read this, and sharing recipes.
That's a lot to read.
Oh, you can just read certain chapters. So for that person, I suggested read this chapter, this chapter, and this chapter. But then they read the whole thing. And you never know when you're meeting somebody how they're going to be affected. Like, even people you never think would be changed come back months later like, I listened to you, I did what you said, and look at me now. I'm down 30 pounds, I'm off some of my medicines, I feel great. Some people you would never expect. So just bringing it up to people in a way, especially if they ask. If they ask, like, wow, you have so much energy, why, how? This is why, this is how. Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah, my neighbors, I've been living in the same place for over 20 years. And they're maybe 10 years at most, some 5 years older than me. If you look at them 20 years ago, they didn't look much different. They were kind of overweight and getting more and more sluggish. Me, I haven't changed. I'm like basically the same.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know they must notice this, but are they not realizing how much, like you said, I'm more, so they don't really ask me. I don't know why. Maybe I'm not as they talk to me, but they're not like, hey, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, how do you get them to say, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like flips down the road or something?
I don't know, but
it's so cool. Like, I want to veganize my neighborhood. Like, maybe I need to invite you down.
So one way to do it is a potluck. And have your neighbors come over and just say, here's a bunch of recipes. Pick one, try it, bring it over.
You did that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. That's what I needed to hear.
Yeah. So just pick get a whole list, or have them just say, here's a couple of cookbooks that you might want to pick out of. Yeah. They pick their own thing. They bring it over. You have a potluck. Everybody has delicious foods and is just like, wow, this is great. And always, if you're going out to somebody's house, bring your favorite dish and weigh a lot of it, way too much, so that you're going to eat. Yeah. And it's gone.
Yeah.
People eat it.
It's funny you should say that, because a lot of times I've heard people say they brought something or they had somebody cook something, and it's like, if you don't get it in time, everybody eats it before you.
Right, exactly.
That's happened so many times.
Oh my gosh, it's awesome.
As far as like this whole, I want to make sure we're done with this whole anecdote thing, because you mentioned, some epidemiological type examples of how there's a stepwise reduction in disease risk with the more plants you eat.
Correct.
Yeah. So, but a lot of these large populations, they still have like a little bit of animal in it, because we're looking at large populations, right? So somebody might say, well, there's no vegan, whatever. But that's when you're getting that nuance, it's probably now we've seen this stepwise reduction with the more plants, the less disease.
Correct.
Now we can infer or extrapolate from that you can go all the way, right? And you can also look at mechanistic reasons to justify that.
Yeah, absolutely. And there used to be societies and countries and places where, because of either philosophy like Buddhist philosophy where you do not kill animals. For example, I thought I could never go vegan. Just thought I could never do it. And then I realized I lived in Sri Lanka for 2 years when I was in my 20s. And I never ate animals there because I lived with a Buddhist family. We never ate animals. Wow. And I didn't miss it. So in some ways, it's just think that you're going to a different country. If you go to Japan, you're going to eat Japanese food. If you go to India, you're going to eat Indian food. And so just make this a new culture in a new country. And there are plenty of countries. I was in Bhutan, and they don't eat animals, and lots of the families in Bhutan don't eat animals. There's other places where unfortunately, certain places are starting to say, oh, well, we can eat the animals if we don't have to kill them ourselves. I never understood that philosophy, because you're still hurting, you're still causing harm. Yeah. But traditionally, people couldn't afford animals. I mean, it was too expensive in lots of poor areas. And if you look at countries where, when the Germans came into, I can't remember.
Was it Denmark?
Denmark, I think it was. Cardiac risk went down because the soldiers took all the animals. And so all you had was plants. Slavery in America, the slaves who, had to eat more vegetables.
Or lower socioeconomic status, like populations like Hispanics, eat more beans, and there's that paradox there.
Right. We do not have to eat animals. There's no question. You can live without eating animals. You can get plenty of protein and all of your nutrients, etc. So you don't have to. So for me, I'm on the food chain. If an animal eats me, okay, I'm on the food chain, but I don't have to eat an animal, and I'm not going to.
Now, you said you live in Colorado, right?
Correct.
And it's my understanding you grow your own food for the most part?
I do.
We were talking about like it being cheaper. Some people think, well, food chain, wait a minute. What about thermodynamics? Like, there's always going to be more plants than there are animals. There has to be. Nobody thinking it through would say this, but a lot of people don't think things through, and they say, well, veganism's more expensive. But really, it's not, right?
No, it's not. So, granted, I have expensive tomatoes because I had to build a dome. I live in Colorado. We have a very short growing season, so I had to build a dome. I didn't know what I was doing. We were learning and putting things in. But right now, I have, every day I go out and get my greens and get my food and bring it home, bring it up, not home, up to my house from the growing dome, and it's fabulous. To be honest, for growing your own stuff, it's a learning curve. You have to learn how to do it. Dr. Jeffrey Pierce, who I work with at Lifestyle Telemedicine, does a lot of growing in California, and he's got a much bigger growing season, so it is in some ways easier. We grow inside our house, inside the dome, outside as much as we can. But it's fabulous. I mean, I just like go and grab my greens, put it on my oatmeal, because I have greens every time I eat. That's my goal.
Oh, that's cool.
I never used to.
You put it on your oatmeal, though?
I know, isn't it weird? It took me a little while to get used to it. But I wasn't having enough greens, and I liked Dr. Esselstyn's plan of having greens with every meal. So you could have it beforehand or afterwards, but I'm lazy, so I just put everything together.
I try to have seeds, or I try to have fat with every meal, but I'm gonna have to try that. And I've switched from doing like growed oats to like barley or something. So maybe greens would go better with that.
Yeah, and you can make savory oatmeal or savory grains in the morning.
When you say savory, like maybe I don't know what that means, because I put dates in mine.
I have fruit. I have
like a couple blueberries, some flax.
Absolutely. I put it all together. Like they say, have 30 to 50 different varieties of foods a week, of plants a week. I have it probably in breakfast.
Yeah, nice, nice.
But so growing is fabulous. One, it's great for eating your own food. It tastes so much better. A tomato that you grow tastes so much better than a tomato that has been in the store for weeks, or getting to the store for weeks. And it's so fun to watch it grow. But then you're also doing the exercise of movement and planting and weeding and doing all that. So it's stress relieving. It fits so many parts of the pillars. For example, in my area, we have 3 families in my area that have grow domes. So we'll switch kale for chard, or we'll switch this for that, and we'll each feed each other, which is another part of the community that we started doing, which has been great. It's so much fun.
I live in North Carolina, and the winters are really dark and dreary. Then when spring comes around, it's like, okay, my strawberries start to come out, my blueberries, my figs, and so when I'm editing, I go out and I'll take a break every 45 minutes or so, and I'll get a couple blueberries, and then I'll go back inside and edit for a little while, and then I'll go back outside. And it's like my favorite time of the year,
Isn't it awesome? And then what we do, we steam, we freeze dry, we steam, we freeze. We do so many things. We'll make a whole bunch of tomato sauce for the year. We have a little cold storage cooler area in our home, and it's great. I mean, it's just so nice to not have to go to the store and get stuff you don't know what's in it. And just go to my, just to the back room and grab a fresh thing of canned tomatoes and things. But you were talking about cost. And people think it's expensive to eat plant-based, but no. I mean, honestly, even in food deserts, you can almost always get a bag of rice and a bag of beans, dried beans, and it's so much cheaper. And if you can afford to have an Instapot, it's amazing. You press a button, you leave it, and come back later, and you've got your grains, or you have your beans, or you have your lentils, or whatever.
Peas or whatever.
Yeah.
I do a lot of Japanese sweet potatoes in
Oh,
mine.
yum.
And but mostly like it's like lentils or something. It's so easy to do in just a pot on the stove.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. All we really need is a pot and a burner.
Exactly. And we're growing so many potatoes right now. We don't even know what we have where, but it's purple potatoes, you know, red potatoes, white potatoes. We have so many, and it's so fun to get in the dirt.
Yeah.
You feel like a kid again. You're playing in the dirt, and you're like, and you plant one potato, and then all these others come up, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so cool.
I had a ton of volunteers this year.
Yeah.
But like I'm like, where did all these potatoes come from? Like, it's just amazing how they spread.
Yeah.
And these like effortless crops are just the most enjoyable, because it's like you don't really have to go out there and get seedlings started and all that.
Right.
That's cool. So it sounds like you cover all of the categories. I like to throw this out there in most of my interviews. That's legumes, greens, grains, fruits, veggies, mushrooms, nuts, seeds, herbs and spices. And so does that pretty much summarize everything that you're doing?
Oh, absolutely. And again, you individualize for certain people. For example, I started this for breast cancer prevention. So I eat a ton of soy. I love soy.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kim. I'm a tofu-holic. But, you know, so we individualize it for different people. Some people do better with fruits, a fruit-centered diet. Some people do better with a grain-centered diet. Some people do better with a legume-centered diet. All of them contain all of those. It's just how much works for you. You know.
Yeah. I learned a few years ago when I was interviewing somebody who was raw. I'm like, wait a minute, aren't you missing certain categories? And then when I really thought it through, I was like, oh, you could just sprout grains and legumes. And
oh my gosh, if you haven't tried sprouting, it is so much fun. And it's so delicious, and it's so easy and nutritious. Yeah. I mean, broccoli sprouts, the best.
Yeah, you can't, that's like so much sulforaphane.
Yeah, and it's so easy. It's because I never knew any of this. I've been learning this over the last several years, and it's just fun to watch things grow. I made my neighbor, I was telling her how to do it, and she's like, it's not working. And I said, what do you mean? Well, they're not growing. It's not filling the container. Not realizing she had a container much bigger than mine, and I just had said use a tablespoon.
Oh, wow, yeah.
But it was working, and it was just have fun playing with all these things with other people.
And essentially, you just rinse them 2 times a day, like in the morning, at night, maybe even once in the middle, and just have it drain, right?
Yeah, I just do it twice a day. So for sprouts, you get the
screen top of a jar.
Yeah, screen top, but let it soak for 12 hours, clean it, rinse it, and then for 2 times a day for 4 days, 7 days, depending on what kind of sprouts you're sprouting, and
how
just
fresh
fun.
they are. Right?
Yeah, and it just fills up.
Yeah, and it's amazing all the things you can sprout. Like, you ever heard of Hippocrates Wellness?
Yes.
Yeah, like they sprout everything.
Everything.
There. Like, I guess radishes, chickpeas, just different kinds of things. Like, I don't know, maybe not chickpeas. I don't know. I guess you could sprout.
I think they
chickpeas.
do. Yeah.
You could sprout pretty much everything. And you know, it's only recently that I really just thought about how obvious it is that all these things are seeds. Legumes and grains and nuts, they're all just like a different type of seed, you know, like I guess some people benefit from or claim there's benefits to soaking these things, you know, as well. Like some like Karen Calabrese, she soaks her nuts. I don't know if that matters, but and some people soak their legumes before they cook them and put a little kombu in there or whatever.
Right, the kombu in there, to make it less photogenic.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess you could get a little more complicated, a little more nuanced, a little bit. But for the most part, the more simple, the healthier probably, or it's just as healthy. You know, like really doesn't have to be super complicated, but you are developing a sophisticated palate. And when you remove the meat, eggs, and dairy, you discover all these new things, right?
Oh, the new flavors. I mean, it's so fascinating because I'm overall SOS, which is salt, oil, and sugar-free. Yeah, so I'm SOS free, and which is no salt, oil, or sugar usually. When I go to a restaurant and I taste something, it's like, wow, is that salty? Or wow, is that sugary? When I was literally before a Milky Way vegetarian. So I wouldn't have a Milky Way this big. I would have the king size Milky Way. And I was bigger. You know, I eat so much more now. I have food tastes so much better. It's kind of like smokers. When they stop smoking, they actually smell things better. I now taste things better.
Yeah.
So, you know.
You eat more to weigh less too.
Oh my gosh, it's great.
Yeah.
I mean, I struggled from age 13 to 47 and
with weight.
Yeah. I used
now would you say you effortlessly obtained and maintained your perfect weight?
Yeah. I mean, occasionally I refuse to buy. I threw out all my fat pants, and so if I start to feel like I'm gaining, I just adjust a little. I cut down the amount of fat I eat every day. Now I eat a lot of food because I'm out in the yard every day. I'm out with my dogs every day. I'm hiking every day. Even if I'm working, I'll go for a 6-mile hike and then I'll work. And then, you know, so I eat a lot now. Before I was starving, I tried to be bulimic because.
You mean before you went vegetarian?
Before I was plant-based. Even vegetarian, no, see, vegetarian.
I have a lot of fat too.
I lost a lot of weight, but I didn't lose all of my weight when I was vegetarian. Because I was a cheese eater, I was a Milky Way bar eater, I was a junk food eater. And until I changed from the high calorie, low nutrient dense food to the high nutrient dense, low calorie food, where I could eat so much more. Now it's just easy, you know, if I'm feeling like I'm gaining weight, then I'll just, instead of having a bunch of seeds or nuts on there, I'll just take, or a nut butter, I'll just cut it in half.
Or tahini or whatever.
Or whatever, and just for a little while. But it's so easy now.
Yeah.
I was at an airport once, and I'm sitting there eating mindlessly, which I do not suggest. You should eat mindfully. But I was eating mindlessly, and this woman across from me was eating mindlessly. And she was big, and I was no longer big. And it took me about 10 years to realize I'm no longer big. But because you still have that in your head, because I was big for so long.
Wow.
And I now the person I used to hate, because I used to see people eating all the time and thinking, how do they eat so much and be thin and I'm not? This woman was eating mindlessly. I was eating mindlessly. She had a bag of chips, so 400 calories of fat and salt, and no nutrients. And I was eating a bag of lettuce, basically, a salad bag. And we were then mine was 40 calories of very healthy, nutrient-dense food. And it was such a revelation. But even still, I have to be careful because I have an addictive personality, so I'm a food addict. I have to limit, even if it's healthy food, and it's a trigger for me, I have to stay away from it, you know, because I don't want to crave anymore. And I used to crave all the time. Now I don't.
There was like a time where the first 5 years I was vegan, I didn't really think about food. I was just kind of not eating animals, and it was just, I ate whatever. And then I started thinking about, like, I became more orthorexic. Yeah, not neurotically, but just orthorexic, where I was like, oh, I'm learning, and I'm looking at the Daily Dozen, you know, Dr. Greger's stuff. I'm like, wow, 3 servings of legumes, 3 servings of grass, a lot of food, like, you know what I mean? Like, and so then it's like I started eating too much, trying to get all this, you know. I'm like, oh, now I'm bloated, now I can't sleep, you know. Like, then I learned, I got to eat earlier in the day, and then it's like eat breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, dinner like a pauper, and then cut off, you know, however many hours before you go to sleep. And it's like, okay, I'm finally fine-tuning things, but there was periods there where I didn't eat because I was just so busy.
Right.
And it was like, I felt so amazing. And I attributed it to having such a nutrient-dense diet that, like, I was just, my cells were all just really happy and so efficient, and, you know, and maybe I was burning a little bit of healthy fat that I've accumulated or something. But it's like, I can go a day without eating like it's nothing. Not that I do it a lot, but at the same time I could eat like crazy, and it's just, you know, it's just interesting how effortless it is to feel great even if I don't eat. But at the same time, there was like a lot to learn in respect to how much to eat, and it's just, it is kind of complicated.
It's actually simple if you listen to your body and you can pay attention to what your body feels like it needs. Like every once in a while I'll think, boy, I really want this. And it's probably because I haven't had that nutrient in a little while. Your body, kids, gravitate when they have healthy foods in front of them to what they need. We've usurped the brain's ability with the hyperpalatable foods. And so I have to stay away from the hyperpalatable foods. But I used to be so angry because I was like, oh, if I was only a smoker, I could just stop smoking, but I can't stop eating. If I was an alcoholic, I could stop drinking alcohol, but I can't stop eating. You have to eat. And I thought, well, wait, that's wrong. Smokers need to breathe air. They don't need to breathe air filled with smoke. People who have an alcohol addiction problem have to drink water. They just don't have to drink alcohol. I need to eat, but I don't have to eat the crap that I was eating before. Yeah. I have to eat the nutrient-dense stuff. And you change your mindset as you go along. Like you were talking about, you learn so much, but then you adjust into what works for you.
Yeah.
And
So that's fascinating. You make me think about something here in respect to a lot of people say, well, listen to your body, and then they might eat, like if a kid did that and they were used to eating ice cream and stuff, they might think, well, I'm craving ice cream, right?
Yes.
If you crave the way it tastes, or if you like the way it tastes, then it must be good for you. Well, a smoker, they get used to smoking and they crave that, but that first time they smoke, it's disgusting.
Right.
But we habituate to eating these things so young, we don't even know what it was like.
Exactly.
So we might be craving these things because this is what we've told our body to do.
Right.
Right? So we have to tell our body to do something healthy, so we crave healthy things.
Correct. So, I think Dr. Joel Fuhrman has a good book on that.
Okay. Eat to Live, don't...
I think it was Fast Food Genocide where I read that information about that. But it's, people say, oh, everything in moderation. No.
Yeah.
It's no, not even, you don't want to do unhealthy things at all. And healthy things, do it in moderation because, you can overdo even healthy things. If you just focus on one thing, like if you love corn and just focus on corn, you will be nutrient deficient. So you need none of the bad stuff, like you would never tell your kid, hey, have some cigarettes, it's okay.
Yeah, cocaine in moderation.
Right, cocaine in moderation. You would never tell your child that.
Yeah.
But you would say apples in moderation,
Spinach for sure.
Spinach in moderation. But have an apple, have 2 apples, but don't have only apples because that's all you're going to eat. Then you're going to be deficient in other things. And so make the good things in moderation, the bad things are out.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm so glad you said all that because that's really important. And learn how to listen to your body once you've trained your body.
Well, once you've gotten rid of the unhealthy things.
Yeah.
Because you give somebody cocaine, they're going to want more cocaine. That's not healthy. When you get rid of the cocaine, how do you enjoy life? By going out into nature, by going and hugging a tree.
It's funny. I was hanging out with a vegan recently who I was interviewing, and they were like, "Let's go get something to eat." And then they're like, "Do you drink?" And I'm like, "Nah, not really." And then they were like, "I just, sometimes I just want to do normal things, with people." And it's like, "What else am I going to do?" And it's like, that's a good question, Or like, if you're raising your kid, a lot of times if you're in a rural area or something, it might be the most normal thing, considering what other people are doing, relatively normal thing to take them fishing, or something. So it's like, we're in this culture where you want to be normal so you can interact with other people and have that social component.
But change your view of normal.
Yeah. But I love how you're interjecting all these things like the hiking and all, and the gardening and the interacting with others around these activities, the potlucks and exchanging things. And people act like, oh, it's so much work to figure out all these varieties of foods and how to cook them, and even now you're going to grow your own food and all. It's like, yeah, but what better thing to do?
I think it's really important to get back to fun, to community, to getting along with each other, to putting positivity back in the world. We want to be positive. We want to make the world a better place, not just for us individually, but our society, the animals, the planet, everything. For example, if we keep not treating our planet well, or our air or our water, it doesn't matter what we're going to eat. If we can't breathe, it doesn't matter. So we need to think about all those things, and we can have so much fun. I have so much fun going out and doing things that make the world better. And get your neighborhood to go and pick up the garbage. It's so satisfying. And then have a potluck afterwards. Then you've got the community involved. I don't drink alcohol because it used to be because I just didn't like the feel, but also I'm trying to prevent breast cancer, and any alcohol is associated with cancer risk. I have so much fun going out and dancing with my friends who happen to be drinking, and then I drive home and I have such a good time, and I don't have the hangover the next day.
Yeah.
I don't have the extra calories the next day. I mean, it's funny because I got accused once. I was out for my birthday drinking water, but dancing and having a great time. And somebody said, "You're a doctor in town. You shouldn't be drinking." And I'm like, one, I'm not on call. Two, that was water,
Yeah.
And I just had such a blast.
Yeah.
So you can have fun. I don't need to do drugs because I'll look at the leaves going and flapping, and it's just like, oh, that is so cool.
Oh, yeah, I've gotten to where I prioritize sleep.
Yeah.
And I learned this from Brian Johnson. I don't know if you heard of him.
Yeah, of course I know Brian.
And so it's like it's non-negotiable according to him.
Right.
And when you do that, you have to make your whole life has to be structured around, okay, I got to do all these things before I go to sleep. And so then it's like, okay, I get up early and I'm doing X, Y, Z. But one thing I like to do is walk early in the morning because it's super hot where I live right now in the latter part of the day. So it's so beautiful, like the birds are chirping, there's no cars on the road.
So wonderful.
And it's like the airs look more crisp and clear. But the main thing is hearing all the nature, seeing the wildlife. And I just love getting out in the morning when I actually do it. And I get my steps in early, and prioritizing sleep has been a very big deal for me here lately.
It's huge because if you prioritize sleep, you'll eat better the next day. I mean, if you don't get enough sleep and you're stressed and you make poorer choices. Yeah. And so it's funny to see how little changes, like prioritizing sleep. And Brian Johnson is much happier than he used to be. Even though he lives what some people say is a really restrictive life, he's happy. He's truly happy. Yeah. How many people in this world are truly happy? Yeah. And so living...
That's so cool. Yeah. And he does a lot of crazy stuff, but what's cool about him is he makes it clear how important the most simple things that everybody can do are, like prioritizing sleep. So I just really appreciate that side of him. And it's so wild, thinking about things listening to somebody I already interviewed who was doing Qi Chong recently. He was talking about breathing, and he's like, we have to learn how to do these. We have to learn how to breathe. You take these things for granted, eating and breathing and sleeping. It's shouldn't we know how to just do that stuff?
We forget. We should. Little kids laugh so many times a day, and as adults, we don't. Yeah. So every day I try and make sure I'm laughing at least once or twice a day and I make it a habit to do that. I went to a Plant Strong event once, and it was so much like being back at camp for kids. It was fun, and it was laughing, and it was community, and we forget as adults with the stress that we have and the responsibilities and the priorities, but changing that up a little bit. For example, in terms of what I was doing, I was working so hard for so many years, and I finally decided I need to live the lifestyle I prescribe to my patients. I love it. I may not make the same amount of money or have the same amount of prestige, but it's just, I'm so much happier and so much more fulfilled. And I think it makes a difference to my patients who see that, and then they take it to their lives and they move it out there. And it includes sleeping appropriately instead of being up all night long with pages. It includes stressing less. It includes eating better, moving more, avoiding the toxins like the alcohol for me, and having the sense of community. It's just life's too short not to really be a part of something positive.
Yeah.
So,
And appreciating the simple, beautiful, natural things, you know.
yeah. And what you do to bring that to the world, I really appreciate. So,
Oh, thank you. Yeah. It's like, probably heard nothing tastes better than healthy feels. You know?
exactly.
Once you learn how to do that, it's like the most simple things, like you said earlier, taste amazing.
Yeah.
And
Oh
then,
my
so it's like, wow, I never thought I could love just straight up romaine.
Right?
You know? And I even went to Denny's recently and got their new plant-based pancakes. And no syrup or nothing, just
Right.
straight. I put strawberries on it instead, and it was pretty good. You know, like if you're in a pinch, you know, I was just trying to do this as
Right.
an experiment, but just simplifying things and appreciating what's there without having to add something more to it.
Right. Like just a plain old salad. You don't need salad dressing on it if you've got just a bunch of wonderful different tasting veggies on it, maybe even some grapes or some, you know, lemon, who knows, just to actually taste it. I do my happy dance when I eat, and it's just so much fun.
Happy dance. Well, maybe one day I could come visit you in Colorado. I do need to
Absolutely.
get out there. It'd be fascinating to see your farm and maybe go on a walk.
Yeah.
You know, in your community.
I can take you, we can go up some 14ers right outside my house, and it's
Nice.
great.
I've been to Buena Vista and all that. I don't know how far you are from that, but I do need to get back because there's some vegan families I want to interview. Yeah, so you know Matthew Sikora by any chance?
Boy, that name sounds
Well,
familiar.
you're new to this, so let's say where we're at real quick.
Well, right now we are at the Vegan Summerfest 2025 in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. I have never been here. I've been really lucky over the last couple of years where I've picked a new thing to do every year. And this is my first time here. What a fabulous group of people, what incredible lectures and classes and playing that people are doing out here. There's bird walks in the morning, and in the nighttime you have the stars, and during the day, I mean, from 6 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night, you can be busy or later. And
exercise, yoga, and
tons of great exercise, tons of great food, tons of great
speakers.
people. Oh, the speakers are incredible. I mean, just a variety of everything from, just every part of making this planet a better place and making people and the world a better place and making veganism, you know, educating people on that. It's just awesome.
A fully immersive experience.
Yeah.
Like in the food, like talk about the food, like the
gosh.
variety.
I mean, you've got the gluten-free table, the SOS table, the full vegan, the raw vegan, and every single one of them has
a dessert.
Oh my
a pizza
God.
bar.
Pizza. It's great.
A salad bar.
A salad bar. The salad bar every meal. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do the dishes.
Yeah, I know. And you don't have to do the prep or
Right.
You
You
can
don't-
try
you're not
every
chopping.
type. Like I almost feel like they should say, oh, you got to pick a section. You can't go to every section. Because I'm overeating. It's like,
Yeah.
you're only supposed to eat till you're 80% full.
Right?
Like,
That's
I'm
the best way
way
to
past
be.
that.
Yeah, I know. I've got to try that, and I've got to try that, and I've got to try that.
I've made my spoonfuls smaller just so I
Yes.
could make more variety happen.
And then I've learned to go to the salad bar first, because then I'll have the
I
salad
haven't done that
first.
yet. I need to do that.
Yeah. But I agree with you. Like, I was like, where'd you get that? Well, I got to go there, and I got to go try that.
Yeah, that's so funny. Well, that's cool. And so hopefully see you again next year. And this is only Thursday. We still have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday left.
What an experience for anybody who, it's just great. The community is fantastic. People here have been here from me, like me, a newbie, never been here before, to people who've been here 28 years, and
Actually, it's been going on for over 50 years now.
Yeah. But I mean, these are the people I've met.
Yeah.
They're 28 years here, and I'm like, okay. They've raised their kids here.
Yeah.
I'm seeing tons of vegan kids.
Well, I'm so glad you brought that up.
Fifth generation vegan kid.
Yes, Dr. Esser's family.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I've interviewed him, and I'm doing
He's fabulous.
I'm doing a year-long weekly series on the topic of raising children vegan.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So just before we wrap things up, would you say that this way of eating is probably one of the most, if not the best way to reduce your risk for chronic disease?
Absolutely. There's no question, when I was in traditional family practice, which I still do a lot of, 80% of what I saw was chronic diseases that were lifestyle caused. And most of that was food. Eating the standard American diet, the SAD diet, is unhealthy and caused everything from heart disease, hypertension, cancers, depression, obesity, anything you can imagine. And if it can cause it, changing how you eat can reverse it or prevent things. So what I absolutely love to do as a plant-based physician and working at lifestyle telemedicine is getting people off of meds, is deprescribing, is getting people to feel younger than they did last year or the year before or the year before. And I feel younger than I did in my 20s. I don't have the aches. I've had surgeries on both knees because I was a ski jumper. And I thought I'd have replacements by now. I thought I'd have replacements in my 50s, and now I'm in my 60s. I don't think I'll ever need a knee replacement because of the lifestyle I lead, which is the vegan, but a healthy vegan, anti-inflammatory diet. You know? And it's great.
So this being the most protective and best way to reduce risk.
Yes.
Doesn't it seem like it should be the default way to raise our children?
Yes, it absolutely should. I mean, it's not just for the individual. It's for like I said before, it's for the planet. You know, we just cannot sustain what we're doing. It's not healthy mentally to hurt animals the way we do. It's not healthy physically to hurt animals the way we do. It's not healthy for our environment, for our planet. So yes, this is the best way, individually, society-wise, money-wise, in every different ways. And I wish that people would see it earlier than like yesterday, like years ago, but we're gonna keep working on getting the people to realize that this is the most ethical and healthy and kind way to live. We need to be kinder, and that's one of the ways to do it.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for your time. I know you've been enjoying your time here so much that I'm probably holding you up from another great talk.
I know, I gotta get going to my talks.
So I guess we can cut it here, but if anybody wants to learn more about you, they could simply just go to Lifestyle Telemedicine and they can look up your name and learn more, and I guess we can call it a wrap. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.